It started as whispers, barely audible over the chaos of WWE RAW, but within minutes, the rumors became undeniable. Jey Uso and LA Knight were backstage, and it wasn't friendly. Not even close. This was a full-on, no-holds-barred brawl, and the WWE Universe is losing it. Fans watching at home might think they're used to fights breaking out on Raw, but this was different. This wasn't part of a storyline planned a week ago. This wasn't orchestrated promos. This was raw emotion, pure aggression, and ego clashing in a way that could change the entire power dynamics of the locker room. The brawl reportedly started near the catering area. LA Knight, ever cocky, was trying to provoke Jey with words as sharp as daggers. "You think your family makes you untouchable," he allegedly sneered. "You think being a USO means you can waltz through Raw without consequences?" And Jey? He wasn't about to take that lightly. Bloodline loyalty runs deep, and Jey's pride runs even deeper. Sources say Jey's first move was explosive, a shoving match that escalated in seconds into punches and grapples. Chairs flew, monitors were narrowly avoided, and security scrambled, trying to contain the chaos. But containment wasn't easy. LA Knight thrives on chaos. He loves it, lives for it. And Jey Uso? He's been trained in combat since birth, wrestling in his DNA, burning with fire that LA Knight can't begin to comprehend. The locker room reportedly erupted. Solo Sikoa, Zilla Fatu, and other WWE superstars swarmed to separate the two, but every attempt seemed only to fuel the fire. Every shove, every glare, every word whispered between them was like gasoline on a fire that had already erupted. Security wasn't just trying to break up a fight, they were trying to prevent a disaster. And for good reason. Backstage cameras captured every frame of destruction, from overturned tables to smashed props, all while LA Knight and Jey were trading blows with the ferocity of two men with everything to prove. Fans online went wild. Twitter exploded with clips, GIFs, and debates. "This isn't scripted," one tweet read. "Raw just turned into a war zone," another exclaimed. Every fan knew that this brawl was more than just physical, it was personal. LA Knight has been provoking the Usos, trying to break the bloodline from the inside. And Jey? Jey isn't just going to let him. And it wasn't just about anger, it was about respect. LA Knight has been riding high on his charisma and cunning, taunting everyone he can. But Jey Uso's pride is legendary. Being called out, being challenged, being disrespected backstage? That's a line you don't cross. And LA Knight? He crossed it and paid the price with every punch, every kick, and every counter from Jey. Sources inside WWE say the fight lasted longer than expected. 5 minutes? 10 minutes? It's unclear. Security eventually dragged them apart, sweaty, bruised, and breathing hard. But the tension didn't end there. No, this fight set off a chain reaction that shook the entire Raw roster. Alliances started shifting, whispers of betrayal circulated, and even the commentators seemed visibly shocked by what had just unfolded. And then there's the question, what does this mean for future matches? LA Knight has been angling to team up with Jimmy Uso against Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, trying to fracture loyalties and create a power duo. But Jey's outburst complicates everything. If LA Knight and Jimmy do form a team, is Jimmy really going to be loyal? Can the Usos maintain their legacy if one of them is now openly clashing with the provocateur that is LA Knight? Backstage cameras caught some of the aftermath, Jey brushing off his suit, glaring daggers at LA Knight across the room, while LA Knight grinned like nothing happened, rubbing his knuckles and clearly plotting revenge. The psychological warfare had already begun, and WWE fans are salivating at the anticipation. Every report suggests that this fight wasn't just about ego, it was a spark. A spark that could ignite a series of matches, feuds, and storylines that might redefine Raw. The intensity of the brawl, combined with the backstage chaos, the fan reaction, and the shifting alliances, is setting the stage for a story that could dominate WWE headlines for weeks, maybe months. The crowd's reaction to the news was electric. Every fan watching knew that this wasn't just a fight, it was the beginning of a full-scale war. And while some are cheering for Jey, some for LA Knight, everyone agrees on one thing: nobody walks away from this the same. The tension is palpable. The question now isn't who won the brawl, because really, nobody wins a fight like this backstage. The question is, what's next? Will LA Knight retaliate in the ring? Will Jey bring the full force of the bloodline against him? And more importantly, how will Jimmy Uso react, caught in the middle of his brother's loyalty and LA Knight's scheming? Every angle, every alliance, every promo from this point on will be colored by this fight. This is bigger than just a backstage brawl, it's a domino, a pivot point, a trigger that could change the landscape of WWE Raw entirely. And fans are obsessed. Every YouTube comment section, every Twitter feed, every Reddit post is filled with speculation. Jey will destroy him, one says. LA Knight is playing 5D chess, another counters. And they're right, because both men are thinking multiple moves ahead, both in physical combat and in psychological warfare. Part 2 the next day, the fallout spread like wildfire. WWE insiders reported that Vince McMahon himself had to step in to calm tensions backstage. Meetings were held. Strategies were discussed. Warnings were issued. But nothing could undo what had already happened. The brawl had set off a series of events that were unpredictable, uncontrollable, and electric. Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed reportedly watched from the sidelines with a mix of amusement and concern. Two men who thrive on power and dominance now have a potential wildcard in LA Knight, and the unpredictable element of Jey's rage. This isn't just a feud, it's a powder keg. And both the Brawns know it. Jey Uso wasn't just angry physically, he was angry strategically. He knew that letting LA Knight get away with this would not only tarnish his own reputation, it could destabilize the entire bloodline. He needed to send a message, not just in words, but in action. And the WWE Universe knows that when Jey decides to act, chaos follows. LA Knight, on the other hand, is thrilled. Every bruise, every scowl from Jey, every reaction from fans, it's all fuel for him. He thrives on the unpredictability, on the tension, on the way WWE RAW has shifted under his calculated provocation. His plan isn't just to fight, it's to dominate psychologically, making every superstar think twice before crossing him. The fan response? Explosive. Clips of the fight went viral within minutes. Hashtags trend. Every fan was theorizing, who will get revenge? Will Jimmy Uso side with LA Knight or Jey? Is this the start of a mega feud? Every comment, every clip, every reaction was exactly what WWE thrives on: obsession, speculation, and anticipation. And backstage, alliances are forming and breaking faster than ever. Zilla Fatu reportedly considered intervening to help his cousin. Solo Sikoa was warning about overstepping boundaries, and Jimmy Uso. Jimmy is weighing the options carefully. Loyalty, strategy, revenge all tangled together in a storm of emotion and ego. Sources indicate that this brawl will directly influence the upcoming tag team matches, promo segments, and even pay-per-view storylines. WWE RAW is set to explode in ways that fans have never seen before. Every in-ring moment will be fueled by the tension from this backstage fight, and every promo will be charged with the psychological warfare unleashed by LA Knight and Jey Uso. And just when you thought it couldn't get more intense, insiders claim that the brawl wasn't fully contained. Security had to pull back multiple times as the two men squared off again, this time in hallways, storage rooms, and even near the locker area. Props were damaged. Monitors were knocked over. Cameras captured fragments of the chaos enough to send fans into a frenzy, speculating about every possible angle, move, and betrayal. The WWE Universe has never been this hooked. The speculation alone could carry this storyline for months. Every fan knows that what started as a backstage brawl is now the catalyst for something much bigger: shifting loyalties, potential betrayals, explosive matches, and raw emotion spilling into every corner of WWE RAW. And as LA Knight smirked, wiping sweat from his brow, and Jey Uso adjusted his gear, glaring daggers at his provocateur, one thing was crystal clear: nobody in the locker room or the WWE Universe is walking away unchanged. Because when LA Knight and Jey Uso clash, it isn't just a fight. It's a battle for respect, power, and dominance. And WWE RAW will never be the same again. The brawl may have been broken up, but the storm it created didn't end. Backstage at WWE RAW, the tension was electric, thick enough to choke. Every superstar who witnessed it knew the locker room had fundamentally changed. Nothing would ever be the same. Solo Sikoa was pacing, his jaw tight, knuckles white as he tried to make sense of the chaos. His family's legacy, the bloodline, was being tested, challenged, and provoked in ways he hadn't seen before. Zilla Fatu watched quietly, calculating. For him, this was an opportunity. Jey Uso had just sent a statement: loyalty and fire in equal measure, but the cracks in the bloodline's armor had been exposed. Zilla knew that in the coming weeks, careful moves could elevate him, could place him as the next key player in this evolving power struggle. Every glance between him and LA Knight now carried a layer of unspoken strategy, a silent war of influence. And Jimmy Uso? He was torn. The youngest Uso brother, often overlooked in favor of Roman or Solo, suddenly found himself in the center of an unpredictable chessboard. Does he intervene, defend his brother, or find a way to leverage LA Knight's aggression to his own advantage? Fans online erupted with theories: Jimmy will betray Jey. He'll team with LA Knight against the bloodline. He's the wild card. The speculation alone was enough to set social media ablaze. Meanwhile, LA Knight thrived in the chaos. He walked the halls like a king surveying a conquered city, smirk fixed, bruises hidden by his stylish attire. Every word, every glance, every calculated smirk was meant to provoke, to manipulate, to destabilize. He wasn't just fighting physically, he was waging psychological warfare. And he knew that once Jey's temper cooled, the aftermath would be far more devastating than the fight itself. Backstage cameras reportedly caught fragments of conversations that sent shockwaves through WWE. "He thinks he owns me," LA Knight allegedly muttered to a crew member. "He doesn't even realize what's coming next." Meanwhile, Jey Uso, still catching his breath, reportedly said, "Nobody disrespects the bloodline. Nobody. And nobody walks away unscathed." These words alone were enough to signal that this feud was far from over. The ripple effect was immediate. Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed reportedly watched clips of the brawl backstage, smirking. They were about to enter the ring in upcoming matches, and this newfound chaos presented opportunity. If LA Knight and Jey were emotionally unsteady, distracted by pride and personal grudges, the Brawns could exploit every weakness, dominate every match, and establish themselves as untouchable forces in the WWE Universe. The WWE Universe reacted with equal intensity. Clips of the brawl went viral within hours, trending on Twitter, Reddit, and YouTube. Fans argued over who was right, who was wrong, and who would emerge victorious. One fan tweeted, "LA Knight just proved he's the smartest and most dangerous mind on Raw." Another countered, "Jey Uso showed why he's the heart and soul of the bloodline." Every comment fueled the hype, building anticipation for weeks of drama, tension, and in-ring warfare. The brawl also triggered backstage strategic maneuvers. Superstars who were previously neutral began picking sides. Some quietly aligned with LA Knight, recognizing his potential to shake things up and seize opportunities. Others pledged loyalty to Jey, determined to defend the honor of the bloodline. The locker room had transformed into a powder keg, each superstar a spark ready to ignite at any moment. When the next Raw segment began, the tension was palpable. The commentators couldn't hide it, their voices rising as they described the stakes. Every promo, every stare down, every camera angle was infused with history, emotion, and suspense. The WWE Universe was hooked. Every fan, every household watching, knew that tonight, the fallout from this brawl would alter the landscape of Raw forever. In-ring, the psychological warfare continued. LA Knight and Jey Uso were booked in separate segments, but their interactions were electric. Each promo, each verbal jab, each lingering stare between them reminded the audience that this wasn't just a feud, it was a battle for dominance, respect, and legacy. And the WWE Universe was eating it up, commenting, theorizing, and speculating non-stop. By the end of the night, one thing was clear: this brawl was only the beginning. Backstage, alliances had shifted, loyalties were questioned, and the seeds of future feuds had been planted. Fans knew that LA Knight would return, more cunning, more manipulative, and more aggressive. Jey Uso, fueled by pride, loyalty, and anger, would be ready, unrelenting, and prepared to protect everything his family has built. And the WWE Universe? They are on the edge of their seats, hungry for every detail, every confrontation, every explosive match. Because when LA Knight and Jey Uso clash, it's more than a fight, it's a revolution, a shifting of power, a test of loyalty and strategy that could define the Raw era. This feud isn't over. It's just begun. And the next weeks will determine who stands tall, who falls, and who shapes the future of WWE Raw forever.